So first, warning to everybody and to myself again. I always say that you should never do this. Don't do presentations on your own LabVIEW code. It is horrible because when you start making screenshots and explaining stuff, you'll find that things are not working or working more difficult than you want to explain, and you see every typo and every wire bent. Also, this topic is a bit more difficult because it's about a tool. So I have to explain the tool and then I have to explain how it works. So it might be a bit chaotic. In the end, I'll give demos and then we go into LabVIEW code. So please do ask questions at that time, or whenever you have a question, maybe I'll see it. And yeah, regardless of the presentation, the tool should be easy to use. So what is find all users? Well, find all users is my my favorite LabVIEW shortcut menu plugin. And LabVIEW shortcut menu plugin is basically a library that allows you to extend menus in the LabVIEW IDE. So just to show it straight away, here it is. You basically click a class private data, find all users, and then it shows the instances where it's used. In this case, the in-place element structure, and the other one is the cluster and bundle over there. So why is this useful? Well, obviously because it finds all users of private data. So this is functionality that's really missing in LabVIEW. And this was the way to add it. You could get the same functionality with accessors VIs, but like if you make VIs that do the unbundle, you can find those VIs, but there's no guarantee that somebody else didn't unbundle, and also you might have more than one accessor VI unbundling the same cluster. So those are not ideal. And if you have defined all users, basically you don't need the accessor VIs anymore. Of course, you only need this when you're inheriting other people's code, because your own code you know very well, and your own code is always organized and well structured, right? So you can also find this online as the LabVIEW right-click menu plugin. But the thing is that the right-click menu is also the normal context menu. So if you run your code and then you have the menus, those are also called right-click menus. So basically, when you're Googling, the shortcut menu plugin will give you slightly better results. There's actually quite a bit of information about this. For instance, there's the there's just the LabVIEW help, and the LabVIEW help has quite a bit about understanding the shortcut menu plugins. Here it explains exactly what it is and where you have to put them. It's pretty good documentation, so that's very useful. And then there is the forum, the online a part of the LabVIEW forum, and there is this site, and this site has a few pinned items, and they explain a lot of stuff as well. So this is the read this first. It's not just about using them, but also about how the forum works and make the plugins and how to upload them. All the plugins are also here. So below here on the forum, you see the LLBs. Those are actually the plugins. And you can basically click one and see if you like it, and then install it. The installation plugins instructions are here. It's also quite the documentation is just there, and it works. So what's notably about this forum is missing your chat. The chat. So here there's a list of Darren's favorite plugins, and find all users is not in there, so that's weird. And even in Steven's AristoQ's favorites list, his own plugin is not there. So maybe if we extend the plugin, they will add it to their favorites. Who knows? Let me just show the somewhere in here is the find all users plugin. Shouldn't be too far, but well, anyway, you can there it is. Lab view class field, find all users. And all these plugins, they have, if you read the README, then you should follow the template. I think it's there. And then you get a description like this. So the plugins all use scripting. So if you're new to scripting, can be quite a steep curve. There is, however, again in the manual, a big part about scripting, how to turn it off probably, and I think this is not all, but they're enabling. So if you want to make your own plugins, you're definitely going to need scripting at some point. Yes, okay. Thanks, Vianas, I'm guessing, for putting the link in there. And I have to tap back into my presentation. There it is. So Finder Users is a plugin, and Q did a presentation about plugins last year on the GLA Summit. And you can find it on the wiki in the GLA Summit. There are like many ways to extend LabVIEW. This is his list, and there's the right-click plugins, which is what we are talking about now. So it isn't the most difficult scripting topic or extension topic, but it's also not the easiest. So what is Find All Users more? Well, it is very useful. I use it all the time, and if I had the ID myself, I would have made it myself. Now that I use it a lot, I cannot basically work without the tool. It's probably a first attempt. I think there weren't that many updates, although scripting is difficult, so it's probably not the first attempt, but the first online version or a very early revision. So Stephen made it, Stephen Luftus Mercer, known on the forum as AristoQ. So he was an NI employee, and then he got his own account, and now he got an NI account also. Yeah, so almost 9,000 posts. He's well known online in the community. So what is find all users not? I'm not sure if that's English. What isn't find all users? Well, it doesn't have a very good strategy for clusters. So if you put a cluster in your private data, it will, I think it will only find the unbundles if you use the exact element name, because it searches on names. So all the searching of the cluster elements is done, well, first on the type. So the type needs to match, and then the string name. So if you have items that have the same name, basically it will find all of them. But also if you unbundle a cluster and you're searching for an element in that cluster, it will probably not find the instance where you unbundle it. But also what it also doesn't do, and it doesn't claim to do it, why not support type-def clusters? Right, classes, the private data of a cluster of a class is basically a type-def cluster. So why wouldn't you want to search type-def cluster elements? I personally don't make them a lot, but again, when you inherit code that has them, you want to search them. And once you have the ability to search those type-def clusters, you also probably want to search the constants on your block diagram instead of having to open the type-def. But if you do that, then you can also select more than one element. So why not allow that? Well, why not support that? Well, because all hell breaks loose. It becomes very difficult very fast. Basically, if you have the class unbundlers, your scope is well known because you only have to search the methods of your class, which is very limited, and also always in memory. The only place where you can start the search is from private data in the class. And the way the plugins work, they block the VI where you do the search. And if you only search from a private data of a class, that doesn't matter. But when you start searching for clusters as well, then those clusters can be nested, right? You can have type-def clusters in classes. You can have type-def clusters in type-def clusters. So the scope becomes much bigger. You have to search all the callers where the type-def is, but also all their callers, because the type-def might have the type-def as an output, and then you can unbundle in the caller. So you also need to search all the callers. You don't have to do that recursively, but you do have to find all the callers of the type-def callers. And you have to do that for each type-def in the search hierarchy. So if you click a type-def, you probably want to search the parent unbundles if that's a type-def as well. So it gets very confusing very fast. And instead of just being able to search from the private data of a class, you can now search for any control and any constant. And if it's a cluster, then you need to traverse the cluster. And because you're searching from the diagram, you cannot block the VI because that would be very annoying to show the results and then not being able to access the diagram. So this was a bit, I underestimated the escalation of this. So this is how the, what about property nodes? I didn't look into property nodes because I never used them, but it should probably be, that could be added. Yeah, the namespacing issue. That's there's not really a namespacing issue because when you search the unbundles, you check the input type. So if you are searching for an unbundle of a specific type def, then you look at the input type, and if the type def matches, then you start looking at the element names. Actually, I start looking at the element indices and not the names, because the names can be duplicate. So here's the old way how find all users works. Basically, you get the name and then you traverse for unbundles. You check the name. The type is still checked here. I didn't mention that, but that is what's happening. And then you present the results. So what I wanted to make is get all the names and all the types recursively from the type, then keep the indices, and then traverse all the class methods plus all the type def callers and those callers, and then check the indices of the unbundles, and the results will be a tree. So I choose now to visualize it as a tree, but I will need to change that because it's way too complex. I started changing that before this presentation, and then I thought if I finish this, I won't have a presentation. So I focused on the presentation instead. So what is a shortcut menu plugin? Basically, it's just an LLB. The LLB has a specific VI inside. The VI should have the same name as the LLB, and it should be in the correct folder. You can also, turns out, not make an LLB. So here are a few. For instance, here's my plugin. Here's the plugin, the original Find All Users VI. And if you open it, there should be a VI that has the same name. Find All Users. Well, this one, obviously. So when LabVIEW sees an LLB in this directory, it goes into the LLB and it checks if the name is there. And if the name is there, obviously it should have a known type definition, and then it executes the VI. Now, if we opened it, we can actually see in here that when the VI executes, this triggers the right-click menu. And when you actually execute the menu, then this VI is called. But this VI doesn't need to have this have a specific name. You can basically pick any name here or even any path here to execute. So this can all be created from a template, and the template has quite a bit of explanation of what to do and what not to do. The affected items is interesting because you can actually change this, and you can add multiple arrays to this type def. I think this is a type def, yeah. So you should open the type def and then change the type def, and now it triggers a menu if you click a control, any control, and you can add to those. So you can also add diagram nodes, right? You can add, for instance, a wire, and then the menu will show up on a wire. One thing to note is that you don't actually need to put it in an LLB. If you open the LabVIEW folder, there are two locations, the add or the LabVIEW data. You can put it there for any LabVIEW version, and you can open the LabVIEW folder for the specific plugins for specific versions of LabVIEW. And over here, you see that there are directories, and those directories work the same. You still need the VI with the same name, this one. And apparently that also works if the library has .llb in there. So what's interesting here is that you have a VI that actually scripts creation of the VI. So here you can put in your plugin name and then this scripts template for your plugin. You can also just copy another one. One thing to note is that when LabVIEW triggers the plugin, it executes in another context. So that makes debugging much harder than the normal LabVIEW code. You can use breakpoints and they will pop up, and then you can debug. But if you make changes and you and you close the VI, it won't be saved automatically. How do you actually go to making a plugin? Well, the first thing I would do is just eliminate the whole LabVIEW execution system for the menu as soon as possible. So what you do is you know that there will be two VIs, one that triggers the menu and one that executes the menu. Those are just VIs, right? So you can make test VIs to call them, and that makes testing a lot easier. So I would figure out how LabVIEW calls the plugin, which is not that hard, and then make your own VIs that simulate it, so that you don't have to right-click and actually execute a VI in another context. So the first VI that LabVIEW calls, the execute or the VI that has the same name as the plugin, that's actually loaded once. So once LabVIEW sees the LOB, it loads all the plugins, and you can change it, but LabVIEW won't reload it. The other VI that is triggered, like this VI, you can actually change it, and LabVIEW will dynamically load it each time. So that's another hack to speed up development. So what I do, I develop in LabVIEW 24. So LabVIEW 24 has the very nice option that you can save it to previous versions. So the plugin, this plugin uses maps and sets, so I cannot use it earlier than 19, LabVIEW 19, but I do want it to be supported by LabVIEW 19 from 19 on. So by using 24, I can still develop for 19. And that's very convenient. That's a great feature. So I made quite a bit of sub-VIs here. Like this is the first one, and it calls this one. And I split it up in sub-VIs. That's also for testing. For instance, it's very convenient to be able to test the dialog. I won't find it because it's not loaded in memory. There it is. Right, so I have a test for my dialog, and if I test my dialog, it will basically call my dialog, and that way I can focus on the dialog, finish the dialog, without going through all the entire chain of the normal plugin. So that's why I made more VIs than maybe needed. A lot of those plugins are just one-liners, but I choose to actually make more testing and more sub-VIs for that. So my first approach was to just make. Why doesn't it show up? There, oh, there it is. My first approach was to just put all the VIs in an LOB. And LabVIEW really got confused because apparently what happened was that this LOB was in memory and in my compile cache. And then the plugin structure, the plugin folders also had the same LOB. But this VI or those VIs were LabVIEW24 saved back to 19, and the other VIs were in another context, and basically LabVIEW used to crash almost every click that you made. So now I choose to put all the VIs in a folder, and then I made a build specification that puts it in the LOB. So if I open the build specification, I'm not using a test framework at all at the moment. Yeah, it's all manual, so I just use these VIs. I don't even maintain the VIs per se. I'm not sure why my test specification doesn't pop up. Oh, there it is. And there it is. Yeah, so basically I didn't even maintain those VIs. I made a VI to do some testing, and then I move on, and at the end you have a bunch of test VIs. And when I'm going to deliver this, or at some point these VIs need to be revised, and then maybe make some proper unit testing out of those. So what you can do when you make an LOB is basically you have to tag here that you want an LOB, and then somewhere there's a option to distribute as an old version. Advanced. I think, or maybe it just bundles the VIs in the version. I think so, apparently. Thought there was an option here. It's probably the LOB option. So basically you can click this and then build, and then you should get an LOB. Shouldn't take too long, except when you're doing presentations, then things take 4 times longer than normally. This normally takes like 12 seconds or something. Yeah, Jesper, probably. All the backdoors, they slow down because of the presentation. So there it is. I probably you can just build it directly into the plugin folder, but I choose not to do that to have some control over the process. Yeah, so what I also have is this VI. It's called main now. It's not my main. It's basically my clipboard, and I put a little piece of code in here, and when I run it, it opens the plugin folder. Probably behind my presentation. Oh, there it is. So that's I never remember where this is, where this folder is. So this helps me. So is the search uppercase, lowercase independent, or should be possible to add this search option in some way? No, I think it should be strict. It should always be strict, because if you're searching for a specific element, you want the specific element. And even if the names are the same, because you can make clusters that have the same name. I can just show you. For instance, over here, if you have this class, if you're searching for element A, you don't want unbundles of element A, of this element A, right? So it should be strict, more strict than case dependent. If you're searching for A, then you want to find this A and not this A. And I could also call this E, and then I want to find this E and not this E. So another thing to mind is that when your VI triggers, oh, that's my test project for later on. Not sure my presentation keeps hijacking my screen. So you have this VI and it triggers the execute VI. And when this executes, you get these references. Now, these references you can use, but that blocks your caller, right? So if I call the original plugin, then this class is blocked. You can move it and you can close it, but you cannot edit it. That is more or less by design. But if you don't want that, you basically have to call dynamically your pop-up, your results. But if you do that, your reference will be destroyed when the main caller is closed. So this VI triggers my dynamic VI, and then it cannot wait because then you will be blocking your caller. And if you do stop the VI, then these references will be invalidated. So the first thing that you have to do is copy those references. And I actually use an occurrence, and the occurrence by the occurrence I know for sure that the main VI doesn't stop until the references are copied. So over here, you have another complication, and that is that the VIs are in another context. So you do need the owning application of the VI that the user used. So it's not really difficult, but you have to, you will run into this pretty fast, that things are not working as easily as you would hope. And let me see if I come back to my schedule. So there's still a lot to do. This can be in a package. So the plugins, that there are a few packages that are in the VIPM over here. I'll put it in the chat. So basically, those are the magic bundles that people made to bundle their most popular bundles, plugins. So Darren actually offered to do this for me, to put it in a package, and then hopefully in a way that it's sustainable, so that I don't need him to make a new package every time I do an update. But that didn't happen yet. So at this point, that's still on the to-do list. The plugin is on the forum. Why? So it should be on top because I just posted this. Apparently not. So what am I doing wrong? Oh, I think because it should be here. It should be right on top, but it isn't because the plugin apparently goes through some virus checks. So it will only appear in a day, I think. So it will show up, hopefully, over here. And then you will basically have the LOB as an attachment to download. So that's for now probably the easiest way to get it. Okay, yeah, I'll check the TQMH toolkit presentation. Hmm. The extra complication that I have is that or he probably also has with the DQMH framework, is that you don't always want the other context, because if you're testing, you want the current context. Anyway, that's just so the tree. I'll give a demo in a second, but the results I now represent as a tree, because it is a tree, because you have VIs and then the unbundles and then the types and maybe the names, but it's just way too complex. So I'm going to refactor it back to a list box. A lot of testing in the wild needs to be done. So when people start using it, things will turn up and extra features, extra bugs, of course. Those bugs need fixing. There are a few bugs that I know of related to type devs that are not clusters. And then the source code is available. It's on GitLab. So over here, probably also put that in the chat. Yeah, obviously this needs when we if we ever going to cooperate on this, there might be additional requirements that need to be added. So the tests are very crude, and it's all my tooling. It's not necessarily tooling for cooperation, but at least you can. The LOB has all the code, but not the test. So that's why there's the LOB just wouldn't only the LOB won't do. Do bugs and features requests go directly to GitLab? I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if everybody can insert issues in GitLab. I basically don't know, Jasper. I don't know how this would work in practice. So Andre is the GitLab guru in our company, so he says it should be possible. We never went into the whole pull request and merge request thing. So we'll see how that works. It's a learning curve for us, and a lot of people are learning the same curve at the moment. So, yep. So I'll give a demo, and please keep asking questions, and I'll try to answer, of course. Fine, we can quit this presentation screen, hopefully. Yes, okay. Should I close this? Keep it open for now. So this is a project, and it's a work in progress, although it has been refactored quite a bit over time. So when you get this code for the first time, right? Your colleague left, and basically you have to maintain it. You have a lot of classes, and all those classes have methods, and all you want to know is where's the serial number set, right? So you can use the old one, and in this case it works. You have two unbundlers, this one and this one, and if you double click them, it will open them, right? And then you know where that unbundle is used. You can use the new one as well. Hopefully it gives the same result. It does. So this is way too complex in the tree, but it gives the same VIs, and you can double click it. So there are bells and whistles that come with this. One thing that I really liked to have is I like to make like snapshot VIs, and it should work. But yeah, so I can now select this VI and drop it in my diagram to make kind of like a clipboard of notes where all the VIs are used. So I can use the other, I can search for the other one, for instance, the commands with this one. And I think it will also give the two VIs, but with the new plugin, you can also select them both and then find all the, so that the original one is gone because you selected more than one. And with this, with the new code, you can actually find all the commands and serial numbers. So there is a way to refresh. Which in the other one, you cannot change the class. So why would you need a refresh? But you can actually change the code and then refresh, and then hopefully you get the other one as well, right? So you get the new one as well, the old one and the new one. Yes, what are all the other columns? Well, the name is a label if it's there. And then the rest gets a bit complicated. The PCE, basically that says if it's a parent unbundle or a child unbundle or the exact unbundle. So in a while, I'll demo a cluster in a class, a type def cluster in a class, and then that will make more sense to explain. The W is if it's wired or not. So in this new one, I want I created. If I refresh, you'll see a no here. So this one isn't wired, and this one is wired. And you can actually filter on that. So you can show only the unbundles that are not wired. And of course, that's a sign that you can basically delete it. The type is when you, so at the moment I'm searching this class, but if there are more, if there are nested type defs, you will get more here, and then you can filter on them. And read write basically is if it's a bundle or an unbundle or an in place element structure. No, Jasper, this has nothing to do with the only thing in common with the Gremlin stuff, the search LabVIEW as a graph, is that it's scripting. But this is that would be quite heavy to use that over here. Does it work on class data? Yes, this is a class. So this is the private data of a class. But we can I'll show you another class that is maybe a bit more more complex class. So this class has a type def, right? So this is the type def, and you can actually search, for instance, on certificate number. So this takes longer because now we have to search outside of the scope of the class, right? So that could be potentially be a lot more VIs. So over here we find the certificate number, but also this is also a certificate number with the full name. And over here is the certificate number. And over here is the certificate number. If I search for the method, I think it gets more fun because the method, oh wait, I have to probably just search for the class. That's more interesting. So if I search the same type def from the class, here we have find all users, and it basically searches for certificate number in bundle in the class, right? So it will find 2 of them, but there are more than these. So if I use the new plugin, so basically it's now searching maybe 50 VIs or something. So here's the list. So it will find this one, find the other one. Those are the basic clusters. But over here it actually shows that it's bundling not certificate number itself, but the cluster it is in. So this could potentially modify the certificate data. So if you're searching for modifiers of certificate data, you do want to find this one as well. And now you can see what the PCE means, right? So the element means that the exact element is unbundled, the exact certificate number, and over here it actually the element you're searching is a child of what you're bundling. No, Matthias, there's a lot of maps and sets in that are used. So 17 would need excessive refactoring to variants to get maps and sets. Yeah. It could be done, probably. Yeah, so here we have another example. Here the cluster is used, the typedef cluster, but not the class. So here the typedef cluster is used outside of the class, which is horrible. This class really should be, this cluster, typedef cluster should basically be the class and not typedef cluster in a class which is a typedef. Is very annoying. And now you can limit the search as well on the typedef or the class it's in. And then the typedef disappears, or the other one this shows. Now over here you can say, okay, I only want the exact matches. Once you know what it means, it's basically just icing on the cake. So, are there any remaining questions or things that people are interested in? I can, for instance, show this, which is things that nobody asked for, but that are neat once you start making it. Right. So this is another way that you can do now, because we're now allowing. Oh, Jesper, I'll answer your question next. Because we're now allowing to search from the block diagram, you can actually do this, right? And then you can start the search. Right, and now it will search both the both elements. And these type defs don't even need to be the same, right? You can have different type defs and search them all. And then over here you have the certificate number, and there's also one in bundle of the method. Maybe if you look at it like this, then it could be nice to filter on the element as well. So how long did it take to develop this? Probably, so it's like the first proof of principle was maybe a few hours. And then I ran into the more complexity, and then I spent a lot of time sitting on the couch working out what exactly was the making a plan of what exactly was the desired outcome. I think I should have some sheets over here. It gets very complex because all the combinations that are allowed. And I think in the end, I spent probably 3 or 4 full days on this. Yeah. But it paid off. So it wasn't one go. I basically used it on this project because this is not my project and I wanted to refactor it and I needed tooling to be, I do refactoring quite a lot. So it was basically an investment on my time. Should probably quit demoing now that we didn't have a crash yet. If I keep fiddling, then at some point, obviously, it will crash. Although it never crashes, it's very stable. But so just to point out, this project is LabVIEW 23, and it uses the library that I made in 24. So that's a real with this kind of tooling, it's really nice that we have that. Yes, thank you, Jasper. And well, I think that's conclusive then. If there are no more questions, if I search for something from within a class, keep the result window open and modify the class, then hit refresh. Will the refresh update? Yes, that should happen. Yeah. So if I over here, if I show the connection, we find the connection. And if I duplicate this and refresh, then it does show the other one. Another thing to notice that you don't have to close this window, right? You can. So now it added the other one, this one and this one. So nothing is stopping me from just going over here in this class and then searching for this one. Right. So that's also more icing on the cake. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty neat. So hopefully people start using it, and maybe at some point, and I will maybe add something similar or this exact plugin. I don't care to LabVIEW, because that's the only problem with plugins is that if you like them, they're probably not available on other systems, and then you have to synchronize that some way. Well, 5 minutes left. Thank you all.